They say aging alone is quiet and dignified, but no one warns you about the silence at 3 a.m. Listen carefully. That silence can be soothing, like tea steaming softly beside a favorite book, or it can be haunting, amplifying every creak in your empty hallway. But what if that silence holds 7 hidden truths no one dares to speak aloud? Truths powerful enough to transform solitude after 70 from something you endure into something you cherish. Stay close, because the next 10 seconds might change how you see every quiet moment ahead. Imagine the kettle's steam curling like a silver ribbon, carrying the scent of chamomile toward photographs on the mantle. Those photos watched silently: a wedding day, a child on a tricycle, a beach long since reclaimed by tides. The house creaks, not from age but from memory settling into its favorite chair. In that hush, a question lingers. What if the next decade could feel lighter than the last? Truth 1 minus solitude is not the enemy. You can sit in an armchair by the window and feel the sunlight as a companion, or you can sit in the same chair, same sun, and feel abandoned. The difference is intention. Why is it I enjoy being alone more than being around people? I find peace in being alone. Margaret, 92, schedules her solitude the way others schedule lunch dates, prayer and stretching at dawn, biographies after lunch, knitting scarves for grandchildren before bed. Solitude chosen is a skill, not a sentence. Psychologists call it self-directed time. Studies from the University of Chicago show it boosts creativity and emotional regulation. Margaret keeps a contentment journal. Each night she writes 3 gifts her quiet day delivered: the rustle of oak leaves, the luxury of reading aloud without embarrassment, the freedom to cry when a memory surfaces. Try it tonight. List 3 gifts your solitude offered. You'll train your brain to spot abundance instead of absence. Yet solitude needs boundaries. Margaret sets a 45-minute timer for silence, then stands, stretches, or calls her niece. Structured solitude prevents the mind from slipping into rumination. Think of it as a fence that keeps weeds of worry from choking your garden. Medical journals warn that unwanted loneliness raises cardiovascular risk by 29%, while chosen solitude shows no such danger. Your mindset is the most important roommate you'll ever have. This small mistake in the morning could cost you your independence after 75. We'll return to it in a moment. Truth 2 minus grief echoes louder in empty rooms. I've been on my own since my wife passed away after 55 wonderful years of marriage, and I've found peace in my solitude. Daniel, 87, still rides his motorcycle and trims his own trees, yet he admits the engine can't always drown the absence of a second toothbrush. Grief never departs, it mutates. Some days it wears nostalgia, other days it ambushes with a perfume in the grocery aisle. Daniel writes his late wife a letter every Sunday, placing it in a cedar box beside her photo. Psychologists call this ritual continuing bonds. Seniors who maintain such bonds show 22% fewer depressive symptoms a year after loss. Community helps too. Many towns host an empty chair dinners, where widows and widowers bring a dish and leave an extra seat to honor absent partners. Look for one at your senior center, or start one with a neighbor and a pot of soup. Truth 3 minus sunlight is medicine you can't order online. Clara, 70, lives with chronic tremors in an apartment that never sees the sun. My apartment has no sun. I need help but don't know where to get it. Environments can steal vitality faster than disease. Lack of natural light disrupts sleep, mood, and balance. Light is free medicine. 15 minutes of midday sun on face and hands provides about 1,000 IU of vitamin D, more than the daily recommendation for adults over 70. If mobility is limited, borrow light, sit on a sunny bench at the library, visit a greenhouse, or ride the mall escalator just to bask under skylights. Pair it with birdsong, an app that plays forest sounds can lower cortisol by 18%. Remember that morning mistake? It's waking in darkness, scrolling through yesterday's worries instead of greeting the sun. 10 minutes of daylight within an hour of sunrise tells your brain, you are alive, safe, and needed. Skip it, and independence slowly erodes. Truth 4 minus micro-connections are life rafts. Lydia, 75, pours kibble while her cat whines between her ankles. Alone but not lonely, she smiles. She chats with the cashier about weather, waves at the neighbor's grandson, and mails a postcard each week. Sociologists call these weak ties, I call them life rafts. You don't need a banquet hall of friends, just 3 points of contact. a living being to greet, a familiar face to recognize, a voice to hear. Technology can help. Lydia joined a voice-only phone book club that lasts 30 minutes. Participants report a 40% boost in belonging. If tech feels daunting, start with voice messages, press the microphone icon, speak, release. One 91-year-old listener called it an hug through the phone. Adopt a stretch of sidewalk and sweep it every Friday. Neighbors will notice, nod, perhaps chat. That broom may become the strongest social tool you own. 80% of seniors skip this next habit, and it's silently draining their energy. Hold that thought. Truth 5 minus purposeful routines outperform motivation. Harold, 92, begins each dawn with gratitude. One sentence, a stretch to piano music, coffee while sparrows argue outside. Stanford researchers show routines lower stress hormones and reinforce control, vital when bodies negotiate with aches. But rituals must adapt. When arthritis flares, Harold swaps piano stretches for soaking hands in warm water. Build a toy stack, 2 options for each time slot. If knees protest, trade the park walk for chair yoga. Consistency lives in the hour, not the exact movement. Circadian rhythm thrives on regularity. Go to bed and wake within the same 90-minute window. Harvard studies reveal seniors who keep steady schedules score 43% higher on cognitive tests than those who drift. Truth 6. Animals are bridges between worlds. And I live alone with my dog, who is a great friend and companion. Pets release oxytocin, lower blood pressure, and pull you outdoors. Not a dog person? Foster a senior cat for 8 weeks. Mayo Clinic data shows LDL cholesterol drops by 8%. Allergic? Tend houseplants. Nurturing a fern triggers the same dopamine pathway. Eleanor, 78, lost her terrier Reba 9 months ago. She honors Reba by volunteering at the shelter and writing children's stories where a heroic dog saves the garden. Therapy animals now include rabbits, miniature horses, even parrots. The species matters less than the reciprocity. You care, it responds, and the reward center in your brain lights up like Christmas. Truth 7. Preparing for help is an act of strength, not weakness. Emergency buttons, grab bars, a phone list taped to the fridge. These aren't symbols of decline, they're declarations of self-respect. Daniel installed motion sensor lights after stumbling at night. I'd rather admit I need a little help than be forced to leave my home, he says. Create an in case of emergency envelope. Medications, insurance, contacts, ID, tucked in the freezer where first responders look. Smart speakers can dial a neighbor when you say, "Help me." Independence today means collaborating with gadgets tomorrow. Finally, prepare your finances, automate bills, appoint a trusted bank contact, review your will every 5 years. Clarity now lets you focus on sunrise, not paperwork. Now, about that habit, 80% skip, hydration before noon. Dehydration mimics fatigue, confusion, even depression. 1 glass of water at sunrise, another after mid-morning stretch, and a third with lunch. Simple, free, often forgotten. Add a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon to replace overnight electrolytes. Pair it with 3 slow shoulder rolls to activate lymph flow. British researchers calculate that such micro-movements burn an extra 400 calories per week, enough to keep waistline steady without a single gym membership. Imagine a quilt stitched from all these voices: the introvert who loves the hush, the widower who rides towards sunsets, the tremor, shaken woman seeking sunlight, the cat-owned neighbor, the dogless mourner who still sets out 2 bowls out of memory. Their stories share one thread. Aging alone is not a verdict, it's a landscape. Some paths are rocky, some shaded, some lined with wildflowers. Your choices, light, water, routines, micro-connections, are the boots you wear to walk it. Look closer, every patch is stitched with agency. Margaret chose her journal, Daniel chooses his handlebars, Clara chooses hope each time she lifts the blinds. Agency is the antidote to helplessness. You might not command crowds, but you can command the station on the radio, the sugar in your tea, the distance you walk to the mailbox. Each micro-choice whispers to your nervous system, I am still steering. There's one more secret most guides never mention. The day you decide to share your story, you stop being truly alone. Hold that in your pocket as we close. So tomorrow morning, before the kettle whistles, open the curtains wide, let sunlight paint your face. Drink a glass of water while the light settles in your bones. Whisper a greeting to the photo on the mantle, the cat at your feet, or the memory of a motorcycle's rumble. Then step into your day, not as a solitary figure against the world, but as the keeper of a quiet power no crowd can offer. Because the truth about aging alone is this: when you learn to stand comfortably in your own company, every new connection becomes a choice, not a necessity. And that is freedom. And if ever you wonder whether your quiet life matters, remember a study of 10,000 seniors, those who believed their days held purpose lived, on average, 7 years longer than those who did not. Purpose isn't measured in applause, it's measured in heartbeat persistence. One final invitation: write today's date on a slip of paper and list one intention. Just one. Place it under your pillow. When you wake, read it aloud before your feet touch the floor. That small ceremony turns waking into a promise kept. Promises, like bridges and quilts, are stronger than solitude. The kettle will whistle again. When it does, breathe in the steam, feel the warmth on your palms, and remember, peace is not the absence of people, it is the presence of yourself. Guard it, grow it, and let it light the way.